Good morning, students. Good morning. So, welcome to business studies class. So, what's the topic for today's class? This is the topic for today's class: e-business risk, then outsourcing. This is the concept for today's class: e-business risk and outsourcing and its features. This is the last class in the fifth chapter. Okay, in the fifth chapter, emerging mode of business. Very small chapter, a small concept, very easy to understand. This is the last class under fifth class. In next class, we will study one of the beautiful chapter in the business studies. There is the formation of company. Okay, you must give utmost attention to that chapter. It's very good chapter. Very important for you in your life also. Okay, it's the next chapter. Okay, after completion of this chapter, we are going to that chapter, that is formation of company. Okay, just recall it once what we have studied in the previous classes. This is the chapter emerging mode of business. So, in this chapter we have studied, so what is the meaning of the mode of business. Then we studied e-commerce and meaning of e-business, meaning of e-commerce and meaning of e-business. Then we studied the e-business versus e-commerce, that means a major difference between e-commerce and then e-business. So, then we studied some scopes under e-business. So, what are the scopes under e-business? There we studied 5 to 6 scope, or the different way of the modern business technique or the emerging mode of business. That is a concept. So, then we studied what are the features, then merits and demerits of e-commerce. Then we studied some some negative points, then the demerits of e-business. Then we studied how to conduct online transaction. That is the things or the concept we have studied in our previous classes. Okay, let us come to today's class. The concept is e-business risk. So, in that we have 3 types of risk. We have the transaction risk, then data storage and transmission risk, then we have a risk of threat to IP and privacy. Here IP means intellectual property and privacy. Then we have outsourcing concept, outsourcing, its meaning and features. Here some features are given here. Outsourcing involves contracting out, only non-core activities are outsourced. Then we have process may be outsourced to a captive unit or a third party. I repeat, first feature, outsourcing involves contracting out, only non-core activities are outsourced. Then the process may be outsourced to a captive unit or to a third party. This is the features of outsourcing. Now, what is the need of outsourcing? There we have the first one, focusing of attention, then quest for excellence, then growth through alliance, then flip to economic development, then low investment. This is the need of the outsourcing. So, then we have some concern or the problems or limitations of e-commerce: confidentiality, sweat shopping, then resentment in home countries, then ethical concern. So, these are all the some concerns of e-commerce, concerns of outsourcing. Okay. So, look at the point. First one, e-business risk. So, here we have 3 risks. So, under e-business risk, first one, transaction risk. So, what is a transaction risk? It is a risk arrived at the time of transaction. So, you have studied in our accountancy what is the meaning of transaction. Transaction means the activity It's an activity between, I mean, in the economic term, economic activities. It is what we call transaction. It's the activity between one party and another party. It's activity between two parties. It's called transaction. Now, what is the risk? Transaction risk in e-commerce or e-business. Very simple things. When it comes to transaction risk, we have risk of order taking and order giving. This is called default on risk taking, order taking and order receiving is the point. I repeat, under transaction risk, we have three types of risk. First one, default on order taking and order giving, then default on delivery, then default on payment. These are all the three major transaction risk. I repeat, in the e-business risk, we have three risk. That first one, transaction risk. Under transaction risk, we have three types of risk. First one, default on order giving and order taking. Then second one, default on delivery. Then we have default on payment. Now, what's the first one? So, default on order taking and order giving. So, sometimes when you come to the e-commerce company, so they ever says that, so we didn't get their order, okay, but customers, so their argument is they have placed the order, but here in the e-business company they denies, so they are denying that order was not placed. This is the first risk, that is called order taking and order giving risk. So sometimes the customers in the online platform, the customers they says order was placed, but when you come to company, okay, their argument is they are denying that order was not placed. This is the first one, the first transaction risk, that is the default on order giving and order taking. Sometimes the customer, he gets delivery of product, then again he denies that order was not placed. Is again one more problem, isn't it? So the as a customer, so we got some product, so we are delivered some product from the online companies or the e-commerce companies, but we are arguing that we deny that order was not placed. This is the problem. This is the first one, transaction is the first transaction risk, that is default on order giving and order taking. Now second risk, that is the default on the delivery. Okay, default on delivery. Sometimes so product was delivered to the wrong party. So wrong party is the first risk. Then so sometimes we can't trace out or find out the order giver or the customer is the problem. Sometimes order was delivered to the wrong address. This is called default on delivery. Default on delivery. So this is the second transaction risk, default on delivery. First one, default on order giving and order taking. Second one, default on delivery. Third one, default on payment. Now the customer claims that he has made the payment. The customer, he claims that he has made the payment, but the company they denies that the payment was not done. They didn't get their amount or the payment. This is called default of payment. There are three transaction risk. First one, default on order giving and order taking. Second one, default on delivery. Third one, default on payment. Under default on order giving and order taking, sometimes the company, so they claims that order was placed, but customer denies that order was not placed. In some other cases, customer says that order was placed, but company denies that order was not placed. So it's a problem. So default on order giving and order taking. Second transaction risk, that is default on delivery. That means the intended product delivered to the wrong person. Actually, he didn't order for the product, but is delivered the product. That's the first incident. Then second incident, so goods delivered to the wrong party. Delivered to the wrong party. Sometimes one more thing is the customer he placed some other product, but he is delivered with the some other product. Okay, he has placed for mobile, but he got delivery of some some other item. Again, it is what you call the default on delivery. One more thing is default on payment. I mean, what is the incident now? So when you come to the default on payment, now the customer, so its claim, what's its claim? So its claim is that he had made the payment, but company they denies that payment was not done. That's what we call the third one, default on payment. That is the I mean, these are all the three transaction risk. Come next one, data storage and transmission risk. Okay, it's the biggest problem. As you know, in modern era, the knowledge or the information is the power. If information is the power. If power that goes to the wrong person, then wrong things started to happen. So that's the problem. There is one more problem, data storage and transmission risk. So sometimes there may be the disruption or the interference in the operation of the internet or the computer or laptop. Then there may be some damage to the file. Then complete destruction. Okay, sir, what you call transmission and data storage risk. I repeat, disruption of operation, then damage to the file or completely destruction of information or the computer. This is data storage and transmission risk. It's a second risk, second e-business risk. Third one, risk of threat to the intellectual property and privacy. I repeat, risk of threat to intellectual property and privacy. Now, what's the code you call intellectual property? Is the property is the product of your idea. Okay, for example, if I have one unique idea, it's my intellectual property. It's a product of my intellectual. Okay, it's my property. It's my property. So I have the right on it. It is what you call intellectual property or the privacy. For example, you have the patent, we have the copyright. If I have written one book, one beautiful book, okay, maybe you, if you write one novel, then it's a product of your intellectual, isn't it? It's your product, it's your intellectual product. It's your property that belongs to you. You have the exclusive right on it. That's what you call copyright or the patent for the product. Some company they have produced some unique product because it is their product, it's their right, they have the right on it. Same thing when you come to intellectual property, if you have written something or if you write something, then you send it to the social media or to the internet, then it goes to the public, that goes to public, to the social media. Then once it's gone over the internet, then nobody can stop it of being copied. So it's the biggest challenge for threat of intellectual property or to your privacy. It's a threat to your privacy. These are all the three major e-business risk. So here we have three business risk. First one, transaction risk. Under that we have three types of default. First one, default on order taking and order giving. Second one, default on delivery. Third one, default on payment. These are all the three major transaction risk. then there will study some incident or circumstances of different default. Okay. Then second one, data storage and transmission risk. Then that may be what you call some disruption in the operation, then some damage to the file, then complete destruction. Then third one, risk of threat to the intellectual property or IP, intellectual property and privacy. As I said, what is the IP? Is the intellectual property, is the property of your intellectual. That's the thing. Okay. Come to the next concept, outsourcing. Its meaning and features. What's the meaning of outsourcing? Outsourcing is the activity or operation is given out to the third party. It's a contracting out to the third party. It's what we call outsourcing. For example, if you have one company, your company is automobile company, you are the automobile manufacturers. So your core activity is making engine, okay, making engine, but you can outsource the tire or the seat covers or some other component to the other party. That's what we call outsourcing. Is a process and operation, is an activity or the operation. So it's a process of giving some product, is a contracting out of product to the third party. It is called outsourcing. It is simple thing. What's outsourcing means? What? Contracting out to the third party. So ask them to manufacture some product for your company, or order them or order to a third party, some other company, to make the product for your company. That's what is called outsourcer. As I said, if you are a automobile manufacturer, okay, so your core activity, your core component is engine, then that time you can ask some other company, or you can have the agreement with the other company for manufacturing of other component, other non-core component, because engine is your core component. So maybe the seat cover or the tire or the rim or some other electrical items, that is the non-core item. So that can be outsourced, that can be given out, okay, to the other companies for manufacturing. It's what we call outsourcing. Now, what are all the features of outsourcing? First one, outsourcing involves contracting out. Outsourcing means what? Contracting out to the third party. So giving to a third party for manufacture of component or equipment for or a product to your company. So now the what you call outsourcer partner or outsourcer company, they have to prepare the product, they have to manufacture product according to your prescription or according to your what you call policy or the order. That is the one of the thing. Okay, they can't prepare the product as they want. Now the outsourcer partner, they have to manufacture product what the company requires, okay, according to the requirement of a company, then outsourcer partner has to manufacture it. Then second one, non-core activities are outsourced. As I said, any company, they won't outsource or they won't contracting out their core activity. They only contracting out their only the non-core activities. For example, maybe the sanitization, okay, sanitization or the security or some web designing or the promotional activity or making advertisement to your company, that it is the things, non-core items that can be outsourced. I repeat now. So some of the non-core items that may be, for example, for your company. So as I said, you are the leading manufacturer of a bike or the automobile sector, then your core activity is maybe the what you call engine. So now you can outsource for some other activity, maybe the sanitization of your company, then keeping them clean, then security systems, then what you call customers feedback, then marketing research, then promotional activity, marketing activity that can be outsourced to the other party. because these are all the non-core activities. Core activities is your company is engine. Some other non-core activities are not it's important, but are not core items. Okay, it's also important things. Maybe the marketing, research, then cleaning, then accounting, promotion and advertisement. So these are then sanitization. These are all the important things, but it's a non-core items. It can be outsourced to the third party. That is the thing. Only non-core items or activities are outsourced. So first one, outsourcing involves contracting out. Second one, only non-core activities are outsourced. Then third one, the process may be outsourced to a captive unit or a third party is the third feature of outsourcing. So we can outsource our product or non-core items to the third party or to the captive unit. That's the thing. Then, as I said, what are the non-core items? Maybe sales training or the web designing or the website designing. Then giving some sales training, the promotional activities, then cleaning, then the sanitization, then payroll accounting, then payroll preparation, then bookkeeping. These are the accounting things. This is the non-core items to the manufacturing company. These can be outsourced. This is the thing. Okay, now what are all the need of outsourcing? So now the first need of outsourcing, that is the focusing of attention. Now after outsourcing non-core activities, a company they can concentrate or they can focus only on the core activity. That is the first need of contracting out or outsourcing. It's a very important one. The focusing of attention on what? The focusing of attention only on core activities. Focusing on core activities, that is was the first need. Second one, quest for excellence. Here quest for excellence means so looking for extremely good. For example, when we outsource our non-core activities, then we can concentrate only on our core activity. That makes us to looking for the excellent, extremely good product. So we can upgrade or we can uplift our product. We can add some value. There is a value addition to our product. It's possible only when we outsource our non-core items. When we outsource our non-core activities, then we get enough time only to concentrate on our core activity. Then there's a quest for excellence, looking for extremely good or extremely good product. Okay. Then third one, growth through alliance. So when we contracting out a product to the third party or the outsourced partner, there's a chance or opportunity to grow with together. As an alliance means this is the alliance, it's the cooperation with the other companies. It's again one more opportunity or need of outsourcing. Then next one, flip to the economic development. When we outsource our non-core activities to the other companies, then there is a opportunity for the entrepreneurship. Then new entrepreneurship may come out or they may come up for the starting the business. This is the again flip to the economic development. There is a chance of the creation of employment. When we contracting out our product non-core items to the other party, then they create employment opportunity. That's good for our economic development. Then it's a low investment. When we outsource our non-core items, then we need very less amount of investment or less capital for our product. Okay, as I said, so if we are in the automobile sector, then so our core product is engine, then we can outsource all of our other product, other component to the third party. Now very investment or capital is required is very less. Okay, there is one more need of outsourcing, low investment. That's the thing. Now come to the next one. What are the concerns or problems of contracting out? Concerns or problems of contracting out. First one, I mean lack of confidentiality. Okay, when we contracting out our non-core product, then there is a chance of leakage of confidentiality or secrecy to the rivalry companies or rivalry concern or firms. It is the first concern or problem of outsourcing. I repeat, when we contracting out our product to the third party, then there is a chance of leakage of secrecy of our product or the company is the first concern. Then second one, sweat shopping. Okay, so when we contracting out our product to the third party, then we ask them to prepare according to our description or prescription, according to our order. Then there is no, there is no scope for thinking of skill, just doing of skill. Now the outsourced party, outsourced partner, they have to produce the product or they have to manufacture the product according to the order given by the parent company or the company. Okay, order given by the company. So there is no opportunity for development of skill. There is only doing of skill. Okay, the company, then they are just ordering, then the outsourced partner or the company, they have to do that work. It is very simple thing. In the case of outsourcing, now outsourced partner, they have to manufacture product according to the order given by the company, so that there is no opportunity for development of skill. They are only doing the skill, they are only doing the task or work. There is a second concern, sweat shopping. The third one, resentment in home countries. Here resentment means angry or displeasure. Now the resentment in home countries means what? For example, if our country, so if you are suffering from unemployment, then still so we are contracting out our non-core activities to the third party or to the some other companies. I repeat, so in our country, so if we have some lack of employment, so unemployment is there. So even in this time, even in the unemployment time, if we contracting out our non-core items to the other countries, then that may lead to resentment in home countries, just for getting the low priced product, just for getting low priced product. If we outsource our non-core items to the another country, then their employment is created. Okay, when we outsource our activity or non-core activity to the other country, I repeat, when we outsource our non-core activity to the other country, then their employment is created. That may lead to displeasure or anger or resentment in the home country. It is common, isn't it? We are suffering from unemployment, still we are contracting out our activity to the another country. Okay, that is again concern in the outsourcing. Then fourth one, ethical concern. Now, why we are contracting out our product? So we want a quality product. At a lower price. So any company, so they want lower priced product. They need good quality product at a lower price. If we contracting out or outsourcing product on the basis of this purpose, just for getting good quality product at a lower rate. Okay, sometimes outsourced company or the partner, outsourced partner, so they may manufacture the product, they may produce the product by using the children's or the women's. So that is a problem, it is an ethical concern. For example, if we outsource non-core activity to the other country just for getting good quality product at a lower price, in that country, so they are using the child labor or the women's for manufacturing of product just for giving the best product with a lower rate, lower price. That is the problem. Ethical concern, that is not ethic. Just for getting good product at a lower cost, we should not indulge, or we should not use the child labors or women's. That is a problem. Okay, that is what we call ethical concern. So, this is the concept of today's class. So, here we studied e-business risk, then outsourcing and its features, then need of outsourcing, then some concerns of outsourcing. Okay, this is the end of 5th chapter, that is called emerging mode of business. In next class onwards, we will study the formation of a company. Thank you for watching. See you in the next class.